Hey everyone, this is Cathy from TheIntimacyDojo.com, and I'm here today with Allison Moon from LesbianWerewolves.com. Hey Allison.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, I'm so glad you're here with us.
I'm glad I'm here too.
So, as a woman who likes women, can you tell us your favorite thing about a vulva?
Vulvas. There's so many awesome things. I think my favorite thing about vulvas is how strong they are and how much sensation they can handle, and at the same time how subtle the sensations they can feel. So the full range of everything from like the lightest breath to, passing a baby through, all is part of the amazing anatomy that women have. It's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, no, I happen to enjoy them very much myself. So they're very fun. What is something you particularly like about when you're with a woman that you enjoy about being with a woman?
I think that the cool thing about being with women is that because there's not a whole lot of rules about how sex is supposed to look between women, it can be a co-creation every time.
Yeah.
It's not like one person has to be on top humping away and the other person has to be on the bottom squeezing away or whatever. It's really about what do you want to create at the time. And there's this hilarious statistic of the average sexual coupling in America, right? So it's like you hear the story of like the heterosexual coupling is like 2 minutes long.
Yes.
The average gay male coupling is like 7 minutes long, and the average lesbian coupling, last time I heard the statistic, was 45 minutes. Average. Which means that there is kind of no clear beginning or end.
Yeah.
And there's no, money shot, which is kind of beautiful because it does allow for exploration and expansion.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially in heterosexual sex, the way we've been educated is like you're going for the money shot.
Right.
And it's kind of a clear goal there, and you don't meander along the way.
Exactly. There's so much room to explore when you're just with a lover of actually like what makes their body feel good, and it can be a really beautiful shared exploration.
Yeah, I think without that goal too, people can they go from A to B, like they might touch the breast and then go to the vulva, and then they might go someplace else and go back. It's not like we're going to go from A to B to C,
right.
We're done.
The base system or whatever, yeah.
It's not paint by numbers.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. If you wanted to give, as a woman that sleeps with women, if you wanted to give men a couple tips on how to really drive a vulva, I know that's one of your classes, what would you recommend?
Yes. In How to Drive a Vulva, I teach a couple of major points. The first one is if you're a man who sleeps with women and wants to be better at it, the kind of classic lesbian sex tips. The first thing to know is listen. And listen not just with your ears, but really listen with your whole body. It is very, very confusing and complicated sometimes listening to a woman's arousal system. I mean, we are a Byzantine conduit down there. It is complicated stuff, and even though I own a vulva, I still can't figure out necessarily another person's the first time. So the learning to listen really energetically, really focused listening, really kind of the soft, kind of, Tai Chi elements of listening. Presence, and really, being able to just feel into the spaces is huge. The second one, which is much more pragmatic, is learn to use things that aren't just your penis. Like penis-vagina sex is great, but it's not the whole thing. And if it's the whole thing, then you need to get better at learning other skill sets. For instance, the best sexual organs that I can say, hand sex is so underrated, and it is the Wonder Bread. Well, actually, that's a horrible analogy because Wonder Bread went under, but.
It's not the hostess either.
It's not a drinking. Wow. Hands are like they're the bread and butter of lesbian sex, and there's all these stories of like strap-ons and something like the toys that are involved in lesbian sex. But if you don't know how to use your hands, then you really are at a deficit. And hands have so much power. They're so strong. They're hard when you're not.
Flexible, all different angles and combining them.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. Hands are wonderful. So learn to use your hands. Even before you learn to get good at cunnilingus, learn to use your hands, and that will change everything.
Yeah. Well, that can help you last longer if you're doing cunnilingus and your jaws get tired. You can switch back and forth.
Yeah.
That's the 45-minute.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's also, my third tip would be learn to not necessarily be attached to outcomes.
Yes.
And this is something that happens in all sorts of sex, where it's like, if I didn't get them to come, then I'm a failure in bed. And it's like, there's so much more room for sharing pleasure with another person that doesn't have to look like what we've been learning in porn or what we've been learning from, you know, our friends in the locker room. Like, there's just so much more. And as adult men, you have the power to explore these things and become that lover that your girlfriend didn't have before, right? You can become the first guy she's ever been with who listens, who uses his hands, who's actually not invested in an outcome, more excited about exploration. And if you can be that guy, you've just blown her mind.
Yes.
Like there are so few men who actually even care about this kind of stuff that if you can be the sensitive, awesome dude, you're gonna rock her world.
Yeah. And that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
I love it when there's not that agenda. I can feel it. If someone's intending for me to have an orgasm or needs me to have an orgasm, it's like there's pressure and all of a sudden I'm not enjoying the process as much.
Oh yeah, and then the orgasm just disappears even if you're close.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you were talking about porn. I think a lot of people that watch porn, they think that whenever two people connect, they're supposed to know what to do. And so I love it when a man asks me, do you like this?
Yeah.
Or how does your body work?
Right.
Rather than having watched porn, a lot of people are like, I should just jump in bed and blow her mind and never talk to her. Everybody's a little different.
Right. And I think sharing that vulnerability of asking is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually really useful because, like, where else would you just not ask?
Yeah.
Like, if you're in a meeting and you don't know what page that your boss is talking from, you ask,
like,
what
hello?
page are we on?
Yeah.
But yet in sex we're not asking,
Yeah,
you know?
we don't talk.
It's terrible. And so I think that, like, learning to just kind of detach from that ego of having to be the dude who knows everything and asking, which is how you'll learn things and know everything.
You build intimacy, connection.
Yeah. And I think that with porn, just like with other lovers, like, especially when you're getting to know somebody new, you can always tell when somebody's just doing the move because it worked on girlfriend number 4.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's forgiveness in there. I understand. I do the same thing. I'm like, well, my last girlfriend liked it when I did this. So, but at the same time, like, understanding that even though we might all share similar equipment, it doesn't mean we like it touched the same way. I mean,
even day to day that can change. I liked that yesterday a lot, but today, no, it's pissing me off.
Oh yeah, especially with hormones and cycles. I mean, like, cervixes are very strange, and so, like, sometimes cervixes love being rammed really hard, and sometimes cervixes are like, do not even look at me. You can't really look at them very easily, but don't even think about touching me. But yeah, it's women's bodies are very complicated, and I think going into it understanding that, and at the same time giving both you and your partner space to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times women don't even have access to understanding how they're feeling about their bodies, so taking the time to ask questions and let them really think about it and answer.
Yeah,
like,
let it be an adventure, curiosity, rather than this is what we must do to be good people or to be satisfied. One
of my favorite things to do is to schedule due dates, as they call them in some places. But the kind of, like, and especially if you've been with somebody for a really long time, this is like the most romantic thing that a lot of women have ever heard, is like, just schedule an evening where you're just going to learn about her body.
Oh, nice.
And so there's no outcome attachment, and it's just like, we're just going to spend 2 hours, maybe have a glass of wine, light candles, do the whole romantic thing. But it's not about, like, how fast can you get to putting your penis in, right? It's more about, like, learning what kind of touch she likes.
It could be just on the arm even.
Yeah, and like, really just kind of going back to basics. And, like, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time, you take these things for granted.
Yeah.
And we kind of assume that we know each other's bodies, but there's a lot of room for, like, oh wow, I didn't realize if I just stroke her clit on this side, with a slightly lubricated finger, oh my god, she's freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
And you would
it's
never
a wonderland.
know.
It's a wonderland.
It's totally wonderland.
Yeah.
So yeah, and removing the stakes really helps with that too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Please leave comments below and come back. We'll have another video coming shortly.
Thanks. Bye.